Today I decided to play the penultimate map, map 5 of smej2m5, the Finnish map jam, which is called Chamber of the Forbidden Runes by Hardcore Mazu. Mazu in the past has made a couple of absolutely phenomenal finale maps for projects. He made the finale map for smej2m1, which was called Oblivion, or Unhola, I don't know how to say that unfortunately in Finnish. And he also made the finale map for Dwell, which is another incredibly high quality episode made for Quake, and that was called Prescience Overload. Both of those had sort of boss fights. He's made a couple of standalone maps as well. I think 37th Relic Retrieval is a really cool AD base map with like 800-900 monsters, and a couple of other project contributions as well. I think there's one to Jump Jam as well. Despite being the penultimate map in this set, it is still very substantial. I mean, map 4 by Newhouse is also an incredibly epic map, but this map just takes it a little step further in terms of complexity and depth. A large amount of the map is totally optional, to be honest with you, but there's 50 secrets, a lot of gold keys, and a whole lot of optional areas to explore if you really want to dig deep. I decided that, you know, it's a kind of map of a certain quality where it really deserves 100% playthrough, so I started the long process of trying to find all of the secrets for the map, and let me tell you, it was pretty difficult. That said, I actually have an exit. It's not too bad, it's not very fast, but I think it'll do. I decided to play with co-op monsters enabled, which takes the monster count up from 830 to a nice round 1000. So sit back and enjoy. So this is a kind of a cinematic lift to start a map off, something I usually hate because I'm very impatient. I just want to get to the action a lot of the time. The Vista's all really interesting the first time, but here you have a bit of combat. You're trapped in the cage, stuff happens. For example, this nail trap here lights up before it goes off, so you have a chance to dodge. You can do it blind quite easily, and then go along. The ogres at the top you can just avoid by standing in a corner, and they tend not to see you. Or you can just dodge them. It's relatively straightforward, but you've only got 2 items for health recovery here. This is the tricky part. There's a Vor, and they are flanked by ogres, so there's very little space to dodge. You can just get unlucky with grenades here. Ideally what you want to do is you want to just lead those Vor projectiles into the pillars, but obviously wasn't the case here. Also, you want to kill the Vor early on, because you do climb back up this large atrium at some point, if you want to. And they're a pain in the ass. So, first major fight here, finally getting things going. It's a doozy. A lot going on. A lot of different threats, a lot of different angles. It's a vast space, but I mean, it's enough to keep you busy. Going into these little side areas here spawns enemies. We want to go to the one ideally with the Shambler, because that's how we get to the first secret, which is the quad damage, which we're going to use to clear everything out. So moving around here, first secrets of 50. Many of them are up well. The secrets hold most of the optional progression for the map. There's a great deal of it. So it took me a while to find them. My first playthrough I think I had 21 out of 50 secrets in total, and I was spending a good 2 hours playing it. So memorising all the secrets for this one was painful, to say the least. Quite a few attempts where I failed and couldn't find one secret, so I missed something. But fun to do on a Saturday afternoon. Good use of the quad here, just kill everything. The main threats with the quad are you want to kill the spiders. I should have killed this spider as well, but life goes on. Don't know why I call them spiders, they're Vors, they have 3 legs. It's also quite good to take pot shots at the ogres who are shooting from up above, purely because they're annoying. But that's absolutely fine. So there's a shoot switch behind that pentagram there to unlock the route to the pentagram. But the first thing I'm going to do is find the secret grenade launcher, which is probably one of the best items to find. There is another grenade launcher that you can find in this map and another secret, or you can buy one in the shop, which is sort of a mechanic that plays into the latter half of the map a great deal. If you find secrets, you'll get more things in the shops. You use the currency of gold keys, which is good. Also there's slimes, so you see little Vors here in the, not Vors, like spawns rather, in the water. And sometimes the random enemies can get trapped in there as well, like knights can get dropped in when they're trying to jump over it, so it's always good just to keep an ear out whenever you're around to listen. So, I need this pentagram coming up here for a jump. There's a bookcase, and there's a switch that lowers it. I'll point out that switch later, and in theory you're supposed to be able to run back down to it and open it, but the bookcase is lowered and get through, but I can't do it. I feel that maybe it's co-op timing, but then again I can't do it in Nightmare either, so maybe there's a trick I'm missing. Timing grenades here by firing 4 shotgun shots lets me know when I'm supposed to be getting my jump on. I'm terrible at grenade jumps, but I'm getting a bit better. So there's a little jumping puzzle here. The bars retract as you go along. If you have the pent, you can just swim through the lava. That's absolutely fine. But I kind of want to do it properly, even though I'm using the pent just to get into that area. First gold key though. Gold keys are currency. You use them to unlock doors that have lovely items that will come in extremely useful in the later arenas, the Rune Chambers especially. That plinth there lowers the bookcase down below as well. There's a little secret up here you can climb to, relatively straightforward one to get to. You can jump straight back over that bookcase that I failed miserably, unfortunately. This map has real quakespasm vibes in terms of how big it is. It reminds me of, what's it called? I believe the Sealed City, which is Warp C. Also, it's got the sort of contract revoked. Is that, what do you call that theme? Like, Cal map, I don't remember. You know, the bookcases, the reds. It's beautiful, really. It's a really nicely themed and put together map, this. Considering how incredibly complicated it is. It never really feels too samey or complicated. A lot of visual distinction in the different areas, which is good. But the extremely oversized spaces and stuff makes me think of quakespasm a great deal, which is another amazing set of levels that you should really go and play. The Sunder of Quake, some people would call it, which is actually, I would say, vaguely accurate using the quad of the quotes feature set. So another quad here. The Spectre, I think they're called Spectres, those little ghosts. They're all over this level. They don't do much in terms of provide much of a threat, they just shoot a single projectile, but they take a large beating, and when they die they explode like a spawn, so you don't want to blow up near one. But all of this area up here, strictly speaking, once you press that pillar at the top, that just opens up the next part of the progression path. There's some bars down at the bottom, which you can see where there's a Shambler kicking around. But everything I'm going to do from here on for the next 20 minutes is pretty much completely optional, which is really cool, actually. So, hidden switch there. This one took me a while to find. Secret area. Just clearing him out for later. There's a door there which we unlock later on. This clears a passage not in this area, but somewhere else. In the room that you can see the Vor overlooking, there's a door in an alcove. And then behind there's something which opens up the door, which is down where I'm just jumping to. So it's all connected. It's very clever. So behind this secret here, there's a bookcase. It's a very obvious secret, to be fair. There's the rest of the path to go right to the top, back where the cage started. All relatively straightforward. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here. Taking my sweet time. There's something about that Death Knight that makes him so good at dodging grenades. So, there's another secret around these pillars. You can just sort of jump on one side, just doing air control to weave in and out the columns, but I was having a lot of trouble with that today. So I decided to do it the more boring way. A lot of opposition up here. It's really stuffed with monsters. It's awkward because you want to shoot grenades at them, but it's very easy to miss, and then your own grenades bounce back on the stairs, and their grenades bounce around the corners. It's a good angle for the ogres here. And up there you have the Vor. Usually you don't have the Fiend, but because I found that switch when I was climbing up the lift before, that's the door I was talking about that's now open that I can go to. So the Fiend comes from there. And once you kill them, it's quite amusing how the blockage is cleared and then the Knights come just sailing through because there's a little bit they can jump off there. So they usually fly out into your waiting arms. So there's a Shambler up here. Not particularly a threat, these Shamblers. They're trying to make the most of the ammo I've got. And then there's a pent there, which isn't tagged as secret, which is kind of interesting. It's just arbitrarily not tagged as a secret. I think it's to keep the secret number at a nice round 50. It's very odd. The pent here is very useful. We're playing with copper, so we can just spam grenades in our own face at point blank, and it doesn't damage the armor value like it does in like vanilla Quake, which is a bit disappointing. Well, it's disappointing in vanilla Quake. It's excellent here because it means I can just get in things' faces. There's no more trade-offs when it comes to using pentagram protection, which is always a plus. Made a few mistakes here. Those are the ogres who attack you right at the start of the map. Really irritatingly, like, every time you kill one of these spectres, another one spawns, and it does this, like, I think maybe 4 or 5 times. I have no clue why. Absolutely none. But it's just the way it is. And the Vor's usually up there as well, but thankfully they're dead. Probably the grenade splash killed them. So heading over to that door that I opened a long time ago in the lifts. Jumping along. You end up in this area here. Now, a lot of the secrets in this map have some really harsh platforming and jumping puzzle sort of features to them. I actually found the jumping stuff in this map probably harder than in Mazu's map in a few respects. This one in particular I just find, I don't know why, I just find it so awkward. Because it requires air control and very, very quick mouse movements, and a quick 180, because you see the walls push you back. Also, that lava, if you fall in there, you're just dead, basically, so it's best not to start going for the one with the shells on. But if you make it round, you get a quad for killing all these guys. And let me tell you, don't shoot a grenade at them around the corner. Funny jump here. Through that sort of spike trap, and I really screwed this up because now I'm trapped. Thankfully in Quake, when you get stuck on geometry like this, you tend to be able to slowly slide your way out in one direction, even though it wastes a shitload of time. So unfortunately for me here, I fell down. I've got to climb back up, which I'm really unhappy about. It's a complete waste of time, but it's fine. So last time I made it look really easy to jump across there. This time I took all the damage, so that's why I don't like doing it more than once. You can jump down, the door that was closed before opens. If I had quad, these things would all be dead by now. But I don't. Just backing off so I don't get caught by the explosion. And a secret! Which is another nested secret because there's a secret behind the secret, because of course there is. Backside of the teleporter takes you to a red, which is guarded by a nail trap again. Just something to watch out for. I'm not taking, as you can see, I'm not taking the jump down again because I don't want to take the damage. It's just a waste of red armor, and I'm kind of thinking risk-reward wise. I'm not playing for a sort of speed run here, so just waste 10 seconds. Waste 10 seconds going all the way around the backside, climbing up again. Which gives you another gold key. So we already have 2 gold keys, which is excellent news. Really good. And now I'm just taking the opportunity to jump down here. There's probably a much better way of routing this, which doesn't involve just immediately jumping back down and having to climb all the way back up, because we're not done by any stretch of the imagination. I feel this is probably something that you should do on the way back down once you reach the very top of this atrium area. But this works too. So everything looks clear, which is good. I'm just checking all the areas. I'm now just doing a quick check here under the blood, just to make sure no knights have fallen in, because I'm super paranoid about not getting 100% and having to backtrack. I've done 3 or 4 major attempts of this today, each one either missing a secret or taking like 25 minutes because I've forgotten something and trying to remember what it was. This was very clean, all things considered. Though I feel you could probably be a bit more efficient and take it down another 15 minutes maybe, something like that, if you're really good. It's worth mentioning, red carpeted areas have spike traps usually, so bit of visual language to watch out for there. So, climbing all the way back up now. Had that little detour. God, what a detour it was. We're climbing all the way up this spire. This reminds me, it reminds me of quakespasm map C's, like Sealed City, when you go for the secret rocket launcher and you climb the giant spire. This has the same sort of vibe to it. There's 2 spiral staircases to the top floor. You can see there from the thing on the ground, this one's broken, so I can't get up that easily. If you go underneath the staircase, there's a red carpet there. There's a hell of a nasty spike trap. There's also a health there, so if you're low on health, like I was the first time I played this, you kind of want to go for the health and you immediately get punished with the trap. It's vicious, absolutely vicious. In a good way, in a very good way. You can see there's another spike trap there with that backpack. I think it's quite a good one too. I think it gives you a good few nails, maybe some cells, but it's just not worth it. There's a floor plate there, which opens up a secret in here. This one took me a long time to figure out. Which gives you a quad, and it spawns you some enemies to play with the quad, which is lovely. It's a relatively straightforward quad run, it's just holding a breach, basically. But you can get a really nice set of quad grenades off and just kill everything. If you're fast with this, you can do what I'm doing here, which is take it all the way up the stairs, past all these knights who otherwise slow you right down. And there's a Shambler at the top, which is usually a pain in the ass, along with a Spectre, not a threat. Then you can go all the way to the bottom and collect your resources that you missed, which is what I'm doing here. Rockets are a real premium in this map, in the first sort of half of it, so I'm very careful about when I use them. I don't like to waste them if I can. I use a shotgun a lot more than I probably should. I probably should switch to nails more often, but I just feel that I just want to be able to have the nails available when I really need to spam them. So, there's the first secret on that side there, and it's symmetrical of course, so there's going to be a secret on the other side. Because that's just how it works. So there's a lift down here. There's a yellow armor which I don't need. And again, you shoot the switch. You can climb up. And this one has a pentagram, which is very good, because we're now in the main fight at the very top of this atrium area. And this makes it basically trivial. Otherwise, it can be done. It's not too bad. It's just I don't have to like do any sort of threat prioritization here. Otherwise, what you would be doing is you would be getting a few grenades off to kill these knights as fast as possible, playing around those back pillars. Then you want to push it this way when you can. You probably escape to the teleporter if things get a bit too hairy. But you can see here, perfect control. Not a threat in the slightest. And we have all that lovely red armor left, which is fantastic. There's no secret in those alcoves up there, despite the fact you would think maybe there is. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's another hidden there, which says alcove door opens. Which is another secret that took me a long time to figure out how to open. Because they're so well hidden, those floor switches. Very in the dark as well. And you can jump along to that. You can do sort of a running jump across there, but I like to just circle jump. Get the sort of distance you need. Just a mega. If you know where the secrets are, this map loves to throw megas and armors at you because it's Quake. I mean, what else can you put in them beyond quads? breaking it down on this map, there's two kind of sets of secrets. There's the big progression-y ones that give you gold keys and new routes, and there's the ones which are just little ones for little items. Just an item here or there. And it's those ones which are the hardest to find. Some of the gold key ones as well are pretty tricky. But, I mean, in an average playthrough, you're going to have enough to get the things that you want, most likely, though you will be making some very difficult choices in the shop area, which is great fun. But more of the shop when we get there. So this area we need to press these 3 pillars. There's 1, there's 2, 3, various different places. That unlocks the door down to the Rune Chambers. There's a good secret here, which is just about doing a jump and then doing a ramp jump off the little bit of trim there. You get the lovely yellow armour, but it's not free. You do have to face off with the ogre, which is good fun. So this fight coming up is one of the more interesting ones of this map. This map has a lot of really interesting, harsh sort of combat puzzles, very controlled ones that you kind of see more on a Doom map. It's great fun. So the floor drops down. First thing that drops down on you, a bunch of fiends. Also, if you stand in the middle there, there's a spike trap. It's quite hard just to not get cornered by those fiends, it really is. But you want to get some grenades off, you want to clear as much space as possible. And just as you sort of feel that it's getting a bit safer, you're clearing something off, it tends to get trickier and trickier. It's one of those encounters which matches your aggression and constantly tries to keep you on the back foot. But you can see there, it gives you a quad. And when you go for that quad, of course, that's when it's fully unlocked everything at that point, so it's never completely trivial. That's a great fight. It's really panic-inducing the first time you play it. I make it look a little bit easier than it really is in that situation, just because I know it so well. Because I've done it like 10 times at this point. Second pillar. Those weird dogs that Smej has. These dogs, I think they have a funny name, like they're not Rottweilers, it's something. They do more damage, they're a bit faster. They explode the jibs. So, here's one of the more difficult secrets, purely because it's a jumping one. You need to sort of get some speed up with a little circle jump, and then you can jump off it onto the next lamp frame. But the trick is not rubbing against the wall gently and losing your momentum like I do here over and over and over again. This is probably the hardest jump, I think, in the entire map, and it's not that bad. A lot of my lesser attempts at this map I did it straight away, but it's obviously the one which is good. It's the one where I just make a complete fool of myself. But it's all about controlling your speed. You don't want to go too fast, you don't want to go too slow. You don't want to jump right over the light there. Oh, it's embarrassing to watch. Part of the fun though, isn't it? It's like watching somebody in Doom fail to do a glide over and over again, that same sort of energy where you just feel sorry for them. Because you just know what's going through their head is, but it worked so well in practice. Not this case. I didn't practice it in the slightest really, beyond just... Oh. And there you go, that's the universal language in demo recording as well. You see it in Doom, people punching the air, shaking the mouse, a little bit of personality. I mean, in Quake demos you can just stop and press T and type something. But I still like to do the old Doom style thing of just registering displeasure or pleasure by swinging an axe about. You could see there, that was a triumphant, I finally did it. And once you open the way out of here, there's another secret down there as well. A lot of secrets. A lot of poor weapon choice here. I just shot 2 grenades immediately and didn't. So this is all mandatory progression at this part of the map. These pillars are all mandatory progression. I would say a good 60% of the map maybe isn't. Yeah, makes close to good 40%. Secret up here, there's nail traps in the ceiling. I'm not actually going to go get the red armor because I don't feel confident enough. I can make horrible mistakes coming up here, so I just decide to kill the ogres because they're annoying, and then go and get the last pillar. No clue why I did that. It's, was it really worth dropping back down and wasting loads of time to get like 7 nails? Probably not. Likewise, this is a complete waste of time. There's some good rockets down there, which is always good to find. Trying to get stocked up for the next zone. So, last pillar here. That unlocks the gate leading down, but we have some more jumping puzzles to do, because of course we do. And this is a nice one. I love the idea here of the broken timbers. It's very organic feeling. With all the ruin and decay. Basically, every time you take a step forward in this, it'll just spawn another Death Knight in front of you. Just keeps you honest. Means that you lose jumps there on occasion. None of this platforming is very difficult. The ramp jumps are all very natural, so you just quite naturally get to be where you need to be. I do feel that maybe you could have had some different sort of enemies on these beams. It would have probably been a lot more fun to be pincered in some position. Like, properly pincered from both sides. This is a slightly more interesting trap because it spawns the knights who start to fill the walkway. Which is good, but they should be on the other side. That'd be much better. They start pulling your attention in 2 directions and give you that choice of, I could fight them here or I could be a coward and jump down. Which would be a punishment in itself because you have to platform back up. Another gold key. I love this trap here. This is really good. Because if you actually try and get it, there's a nail trap. Which I then jump into because I'm a complete fool. Things like that, just, they're cruel. Needlessly cruel, but in a very enticing way. This area here, I feel that there's a lot around that corner. There's a bunch of Vors, there's a Shambler, there's some Spectres. It's probably better to just peek right around the corner because the Vors will go ballistic and an infight will automatically start, basically. But I didn't do it. I just didn't do it that time. I've had a few ones where I've gone around and everything's just been infighting, which is lovely to see because you can just stand there and watch. Jumping around here to the actual the secret, which is a red armor. Great. Finally, we're actually getting somewhere with the progression of this map. We're now entering the Rune Chamber area and the shop, where the magic happens from here on out. The next 2/3 of the map are all, probably more than that actually, are all based on this hub. And what we do here. This map is called Chamber of the Forbidden Runes, so there's runes, there's rune challenges. Nice straightforward pincer fight down the staircase. Terrible grenade work. This is a sort of situation where 2 grenades does a lot more work than, I don't know, like the 20 shotgun shots. If you have the presence of mind. The little heart-shaped flesh thingy there is a recurring motif in this map. There is actually a nice kind of lore thing going on with it, which you find out about. But it's intriguing. So this hidden door here gives you, it's very straightforward, that one, there's nothing really to it. I kind of feel like that's there purely as a demonstration of what's about to come up. So we're in the shop now, and you can see there's a lot of different gates just coming up ahead, which have gold key locks on them. This is something that Copper lets you do, you can have multiple copies of a key. And in Quake, of course, unlike Doom, when you open a door with a key, you use that key forever. So the idea is there's lots of goodies behind all the doors coming up, and they're all various different values. So I feel that the hidden door secrets is a really good example of saying, you know, hey, look, you know, naturally you're going to say, I want more keys first time you play, so you're going to have a look around, and you'll see, oh, look, there's keys and secrets. And if you haven't seen them up to that point, which you might not have, depending on how you play it then puts that idea in your head, keys, secrets. I need to start hunting. Huge mistake here, this is a really terrible blunder. I saw that I was low on shells and decided to go cheekily grab some, but I forgot that that would wake up all of the enemies down the top. Usually I want to get all the items I need first. So you can see here, for example, I have 7 keys. First time I did this, I think I had maybe 4? 5? So you've got to make some hard choices about what you want. It's kind of a no-brainer, I think, in this opening situation, though. Like, super nail gun, that's a big item. It's the best get-off-me weapon you've got, really. Good for sort of spamming down chambers and stuff. LG is amazing as well. That's the first thing I went for. And then rocket launcher, really. I mean, those are the big 3. Nothing else matters in real terms. There's one which has like a pentagram protection and like a quad and all this, but there's some armors, some ammos, but ideally, getting started, the rockets is good. And this is why I really want to save rockets as well, because there's a lot of very heavy opposition coming up now where having the rocket launcher is important, and there's going to be a lot of spamming. A lot of spamming. Especially in these Rune Chambers coming up. You can see there the damage that can be done by the spectres if you're not careful. I've burnt through a lot of this red armour, which I really didn't want to do. Just gotta be careful. So getting filled up on ammo. Now going to the first of the Rune Chambers. You can do this in any order, the first 3 in any order. I just do them sequentially, because why not? So this is a really, really, really good fight. Kind of in the same vein as the other one. You're really fighting for space here with the fiends. You've got the Overwatch from above with the ogres who just spam grenades to make it a little bit more awkward. They jump down eventually. But the danger with this fight is just getting scratched by a fiend, one of the many ones, and trying to find those opportunities to get some grenades or some rockets off or something like that. And just as you feel that it starts to get in your control, in your favour, this happens with the grate in the floor, and there's a lot of Vors down there. It's very hard to know what's going on. If you don't know, if you're playing this blind, the first time I did this I pretty much shat myself. But they're the kind of Vors you see in Copper, so just keep running, keep moving. If you keep moving along, the projectiles will eventually vanish. But look at the amount of damage you can take from these fiends here, it's incredible. If I still had lots of red armour, this would not be an issue in the slightest. But unfortunately, I don't, because of poor play earlier. Just trying to clear everything off before I drop down. This next drop down is kind of interesting because what you're supposed to do is relatively vague. It's not the best signposting in the world, unless you're working on pure panic. So if you drop down here, you can drop down this little waterway here, and the Vor projectiles aren't that good when it comes to resolution, so you can drop into this area. But if you go on the other side, I mean, you'll just escape. So it's kind of symmetrical, but there's a quad on this side, which is obviously pretty good, right? But the first time I played this, I just stayed in the little drop-down alcove and peeked out and used a single shotgun to kill all of the Vors one at a time. And let me tell you, it was a stupid thing to do. But when you're running on pure adrenaline like that, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. If you have lots of those balls chasing you, you're not going to be doing the swimming section, basically. You're going to get hit. So really, you need to be going there straight away, or you're going to be in serious, serious trouble. But you get the revenge of the quad, which is so satisfying. It's a fantastic fight, this. There's such inventive stuff in Smej when it comes to encounter design. Real, actual, threatening encounters that make you think and make you choose how you're going to dismantle them. Think about sort of threats and prioritization as it happens. And here's a very cool fight here. So there's 2 spawns down there. Also there's a nail trap, which rains down nails if you step to the sides. I mean, I think I got rinsed by that the first time I went through it. The amount of damage was insane. But if you run up here, killing the ogre on the way is the best way of dealing with that situation. Now this room is very intimidating. As you can see, the chasm is full of lava, so it's an instant kill sort of platforming section. I did not enjoy doing this my first blind playthrough on a stream. It's very threatening feeling. But the idea is quite simple with these. Again, there's 3 pillars. Oh, he's going to make the jump from there. It was a bit too late. There's 4 pillars, I believe, actually. These pillars reveal the secret gold key. There's 2 in each rune chamber. And there's another switch for the actual progression, which is also inside one. You know, you got to ride one of these cubes to get there. These cubes remind me of sort of like sort of Mario 64. In the sand level you had them, like they would walk along and you would have to stand on the bits of the path where they would be hollow as they would sort of, you know, rotate around. I think there was some Galaxy, the Marios as well. It's very easy to accidentally walk yourself backwards into one of these cubes and they just push you off the edge and kill you instantly. So, just being patient, being sensible. There's a couple of ogre spawns here as well, which are just quite mean. Walk over lines, basically. You walk too far in one direction, they'll appear. And a bit more dodgy platforming. This one's the most heart attack inducing. Jump across there. The circle is complete. Unfortunately it spawns spectres, which you do not want to be dealing with in these situations because the cubes give you very limited space to move around on the main bridge. So the threat is them getting right next to you and, you know, doing their spawn attack and you being trapped in a corner. Their spawn suicide explosion. But it's worked out okay here. Mistake there. That opens up the next part of the map. The Centurions and things spawn in. Ideally, it's better to be in a position where you can kind of not immediately jump on the quad and wait for the lift to come back round. But this works quite well. There is actually, funnily enough, a shambler that spawns on the bridge, but he almost always gets immediately knocked into the lava. I don't think you saw it in that one, but sometimes you can see them just at the corner of your eyes as a shambler falling into the abyss. But there's very little in the way of recovery items for health here, which makes it a nasty place to be, especially your first blind playthrough. Usually this area really wears me down. So the pillars there gave you the gold key and the red being a wonderful item. So we're being told some things here. They wait for you. Who's telling us that, you know? Well, maybe we'll find out. Just maybe. I don't really like this area here with like these guys, just because it's all about just holding the breach and just spamming a few rockets at them or shotgun blasts or whatever. It would be better if they sort of surrounded you once you grabbed the rune. That would be much cooler, I think. Stop me from just peeking in a hallway. Opening those 2 doors purely because I wanted that 1 health item. Every time you come back to this main hub area, there's like a new wave of enemies to deal with. So we have Devastators up here, and Centurions, and this sort of thing is really dangerous because this is where the rockets spam out of nowhere can whittle you down if you're not careful. But thankfully they're all coming from one angle here, so it's easy just to get in this corner, peek round, take a pot shot, peek back. I think secret terms were probably at the halfway point now, so half the map will full of secrets left to go. Such a painful burst attack, that. it alternates the sides which they shoot from, so there's not even like a safe space with a mancubus where you can always sort of dodge like forward and to the left or something like that. It doesn't work that way. I'm now going to, I believe, go get some lightning ammo, because why not? It's free, I might as well. You get what you pay for, take full advantage. There's another secret up here which is kind of awkward to get to. I think you have to rocket or grenade jump up to it, but maybe not, maybe you can ramp jump. But it gives you a mega, so that sort of refunds the health. Not the armour, but it refunds the health aspect of it. Ah, now this is the fight that killed me the first time I played. This is sort of my first playthrough on stream. This is what immediately owned me. It's a really cool idea. You might feel this is kind of familiar, what's going on here, but you can see there's a shambler in the middle, there's some pillars for me to hide behind, it's spawning stuff on the outer edge. It's a bit like Sunless Map 29, you know, go fuck yourself a little bit. But obviously the shamblers are a bit more awkward because they have much less of a wind-up. Yeah, this bit here is really evil. I was in a bad position for it. I completely forgot, effectively. It's good to get some rockets off immediately when you're shooting at those guys. They always come once you've killed 2 shamblers, so you have to keep progressively killing the shamblers to unlock the later phases of the fight. I think maybe it would be a lot cooler and a lot more nasty if you just kept stuff going, you know, on a timer basically. Then maybe had some sort of mechanic to telefrag the shambler at the end or something. Do something to discourage me from shooting at them and keep it active at all times. But once you kill the shambler, it's funny because you then get this section here where it's a lot more stuff on the ground, but in the centre there's a vor, and cockavores just aren't that threatening when it comes down to it as long as you keep moving. Projectiles, you know, aren't going to outrun you or anything like that, so it's actually easier the second phase. Despite the fact there's more going on, as long as you keep your head, keep carving a path, you'll be fine. But I made a terrible mistake when I first did this, where I panicked and I dropped down, and then there's some bad times when you drop down. Another phase here. I think some of these enemies are specific to co-op mode, because I'm playing with co-op 1 enabled, which adds over 100 or so enemies. But it's pretty much the same no matter how you play this. It's a really inventive little fight, I love it. They have so much health, these guys, it's crazy. So, now there's something that happens when you drop down. There's a secret down here. So there's a drop down for some health. And there's a hallway here full of nails. That nail trap is what killed me the first time. If you know the pattern, which is right, left, and lower and upper, you can just sort of do what I'm doing here and just run through it. And when you run back, you can pretty much outrun the nails. It gives you a gold key, so it's worth it. If you fall in the lava, you are going to die. That's it, basically. That grenade, for example, that could pop you into the lava, dead, instantly. You don't want that. You have to do that little jump around there to spawn in that ogre if you want 100%. And there's another gold key here. So as I say, there's 2 gold keys in every single area, rune area. And these are the 2 of them. So that sort of thing helps you, but there's lots of secrets I find it very difficult to memorise it. That'll help. Kind of interesting there, there's a wind tunnel at the very bottom of that drop down that slows you down so you don't take fall damage, which is why I missed the first rocket so badly, because I'm working the assumption that I'm going to be falling at a linear velocity, and if I shot there it would have hit them, but because it slowed me down, the rocket sailed over their head. So the astute amongst you here will have noticed that that's funny how that comes so close, and there's a ramp. And the answer is yeah, you do jump on this. There's another secret up here. Yet another secret area. Which is good, because you've got 2 shamblers. staircase heading down to the rune here. They're not quite symmetrical. There's a secret in the unsymmetrical one, as you can imagine. This is actually probably one of the nastier areas to enter and fight in, for sure. The risk of falling down is quite high. There's a shitload of enemies in here as well. A lot of the enforcers in copper who are very dangerous. A lot of devastators. Ugh. But first, before I go down there, I'm going to go get the last of the secrets in this area. It's a very satisfying noise when those things die, given how much health they have. I actually made the jump there and immediately walked off the edge. No clue why. It's a relatively easy jump to make. You can jump along here. There's no risk of falling in the lava. I also like how there's the effect of having these little treasure chests in everywhere with secrets. I think that's very cute. I'm not sure why the secret chests would be there and who would have put them there, but... it's very sweet. So here's a fun one. If you move along here, something I didn't know is there's a guy there. I think maybe he spawns in when you cross that halfway line. Either way, when I first went into that room, I shot a quad rocket there because I assumed that would kill him. But no, he's still alive. And he's really hard to see. He's completely in pitch blackness there. So I don't even know where he is. I assume he's dead now, for example. He's not. Horrifying enemy to deal with. But again, it's worth climbing along here. You can see there's a little bit that you can climb back if you fall, but there's a secret. You see, this rune traps you. But I feel that there's a... you can see the story stuff developing here. Why are the tech-based enemies suddenly here while I'm collecting these runes? Why are they suddenly interfering? All of that. There's a bit of a through line of the story here. You don't have to think too much about it, but it's there. It's nice. There's a little story going through the level. And it all ties together in the entire episode as well, which is nice. But it's not overbearing, it doesn't really ram it down your neck. You just get it environmentally. A bit like Half-Life. Remember Half-Life? Oof. Thinking about it, taking the red. There's no real reason to take the red in this situation, but I took it. Another thing I'm thinking about is I want rockets, because I've only got 8. But we've got 2 other runes, going for the third one. And you can see that they've set up ambush positions again. And the ambushes are getting more and more sophisticated as it progresses. So I'm being very wary here because there's Devastators up above. And Devastator rockets do lead, and they do sort of predict where you're going to be. So it's best to... I'll just run in. So some at the top there, there's some at the other side. It's a real crossfire. I suppose the best way of doing it aggressively would be to push straight forward. And honestly, this is probably the best place to use the quad that's down at the bottom there. It's probably the most unpleasant wave to deal with. So if you wanted to really push this map hard, that's probably a good place to use it. You can actually see that the runes are taken as well, because there's like a picture of the rune on the ceiling there above the portal, and when you collect it, it goes. So this bit's called Machine of the Gods. This is a really, really easy fight up here. It's just spongy. There's a lot of spongy enemies, but you can just run around these edges, and basically no one can do anything about it. The only things of any danger are the ogres. But once you get rid of them, you can just circle indefinitely. You can see how low I'm running on rockets and stuff here. I mean, you've really got a map of this sort of length. You've really got to think about what you want to do with resources, think about what fights come up in future, where you want to place things. There's probably very efficient ways of allocating things, but I was just working under the assumption of, like, situations where I'm thinking I want to have rockets here for this particular part of a fight. So whenever I saw it low, I'd think, oh, I'll leave that. So this is going to open the pumps, which lets us into the lower area. As you can see when you walk around the middle, it's the same basic concept as the first rune room, where there's irritating Vors who are going to be spamming projectiles at you. This is why I wanted to have rockets for this sort of thing. Perhaps it would have been wiser to wait for the ogres to come to the bottom so that I can pick up their ammo afterwards, but it's fine. Switching to the LG purely because the fiends here are dangerous. They break circle strafing quite nicely. Because the ogres will be in the middle and the fiends will be on the outer edges and the sides. That's not good, basically. You don't want that. So a secret hunting I go again. There's a lot of resources up here that I could go and collect, but I don't because I'm very lazy. This secret is indicated by the flashing lights you can see on the Quake logo. And it gives you a beautiful, really, really useful pentagram. With each of these switches, it's going a bit further to opening the big pipe. The use of all the different explosive tanks here is really cool because it shows that, you know, the marine guys have got a presence down here, but also it's a really good way to accidentally instantly kill yourself. Those things have an extremely large explosion radius, not like there when you have 50 health max. They hurt, you know, they really, really hurt. So easy to blow yourself up on those. So the first time I went down here, I was very carefully positioning shots to kill the explosives before anything else. Which is hellish. And that's the end of this major fight here. Getting rid of those Vor projectiles. There's a bunch more secrets down here, because of course there are. I'm now trying to figure out where to go for the secrets. There's one here. That's the switch that I shot on the lower level on the opposite side, behind one of the explosive boxes. That opens the staircase down to one of the 2 red keys. The other secret's along here. You can jump across. Get the mega. The first time I did this, I tried to escape immediately in that direction, and yeah, the Shambler coming barreling down the end kind of stops you from doing that. But once you get past him, you can just hold the breach in this little area, which is kind of cheesing it a bit. So, interesting bit of platforming there. Ramp jumping off the side of the wall, and I fell, so you go watch it again. I can talk about it again, isn't that great? So ramp jumping off the side of the wall here to go forward, if I get it right. Then from there, you want to just jump across. If you jump straight and hold strafe, you can kind of surf gently along the end of that platform, the sort of platform that's at an angle. Just get into here. And yeah, open the portal room there. So that's something for the super secret that I'm doing here. Or what is? I don't think there is a super secret, but it's the biggest secret. And you can finally drop down. It says fish damage incoming. I'm not sure if I actually take any fish damage though, so let's find out. Possibly do. The 4th wall breaking reflects some stuff in the Quake maps I'm using. Oh, I do take a bit of fish damage. So, that time it was right. You could see a gold key from the first room, and it's here, basically. This hallway up here is just entirely full of ogres. That's it. It's the ogre maze. Which is minimal threat, really, but it's kind of old school. So, it's not a secret over here, but there is a backpack. There's a lot of backpacks like this in awkward places. I'm hoping they don't tie into some sort of super secret that I haven't found, which means I'll have to do all this again. But, go and get it anyway. Again, you see that strange fleshy heart motif thing? And this is great, because, I mean, that's gross. So, quad down here. But the quads spawn Vors, and Vors are not fun to fight underwater because you're slower underwater in Quake, which means their projectiles become actually dangerous and hard to dodge. So it's best to make sure you're in a position where you're breaking line of sight pretty much at all times. It's lovely this, I really enjoy it. Feels very natural, this sort of turn to a more kind of organic, bio, horror-y bit of weirdness. Self-damage is very large on that one. Thankfully there aren't many secrets in the water here. The rad suits, sorry, not rad suits, the biosuits do respawn, so you do have a limited time to muck around down here. But obviously you can see here the green filter when you're underwater. In my version of quakespasm, which is a little unpleasant to look at. The one enemy you don't want to fight underwater. Well, I suppose you wouldn't want to fight a shambler, but they would discharge and... I don't know what happens when you have shamblers in water. I do know that if you fire your thunderbolt, you do discharge in the water and instantly die, doing a massive amount of damage, but I wonder what happens if a shambler fires in the water. Probably nothing. Right, 3 out of 4 Rune Chambers complete. And as you can hear, there's a lot going on up there. This door here opens. This is called the mysterious door. You didn't see it when it was closed. It takes a gold key, but when you're in here, you get this, which again is the weird heart thing. And if you walk up to the base of it, it tells you basically get the silver key, use your head to try and figure out how to do it. And this is the progression. I just did it first try there. It's relatively straightforward. I almost died there because I forgot that there's some bars that raise, and that's why you've got to then ramp jump up into the water and swim across. But it's on a strict timer, so watch out. And there's an insta-kill pit there. But this is a nice little just puzzle, really. Trying to figure out what kind of advanced movement stuff am I going to use to get that key. So that's the guy who's been talking to me, I think, the entire map. Don't know why they want to help me, but they do. Collecting a bit of ammo there. Taking the quad and the pen here just for this section. It's not too bad, honestly. That's probably one of the easier ambushes, though it's quite a sneaky one because they're all directly behind you. But I make the best of the pen here and use it to skip a jumping puzzle, which is not that hard, to be honest with you. It's just a pain this deep in. I don't want to be making mistakes. So you can sort of jump off the lights over there, and there's like a bunch of jumps off ramps and stuff, and you can get that red armour. Or you can just rocket jump up to it, or quad rocket jump up to it if you really feel bold. So you see the big reveal here, which is these chambers have been excavated already. Which is very cool, actually. This is a really cool turn. Stuff like this keeps the maps from becoming... When maps have a certain length, it's very hard to avoid them becoming very bland and samey. So gameplay dynamics is one way of making that work, which is where you have these sort of peaks and troughs in the action. You have these big set pieces and crescendos and major encounters followed by some more nice incidental stuff. But another way of doing it is something like narrative here. These guys have stolen the rune for whatever reason. I mean, they are Finnish. I don't know why they want to steal it. Maybe there's something going on. And then you're in a bloody tech base. Now, there's a lot of secrets in this area, there's a lot of tech-based enemies in this area who do a lot of damage. So, it's slow going. You can probably optimise this really, really well and figure out a nice route to collect everything, but honestly, for me, it was just a matter of even keeping the amount of secrets and like the ventilation shafts in my head for this. That was like full cognitive load there. So, these doors are all locked up here, the red doors. They need the security system disabling first, which is what you would find out if you're playing casually. Instead, I'm going into the vents, trying to figure out what's in each vent. I've decided this is the wrong one. To get one of like I think there's like 7 or 8 secrets in these. You can see one there, behind there. So, one has a pentagram. Pretty good. Takes you back to the start here. I don't know the way to go, because I'm slow as hell. There we go. So you have these sort of like cool temporary buildings. It feels like they've set up like an outpost really... You know, it's like a supply outpost they've set up really sort of ad hoc. In a hurry. Above, there are some moving platforms that have devastators on, and they just rain down rockets on you, basically. And they are a nightmare to try and kill early, so I don't even bother trying. These buttons that I'm pressing in all these different walls, they reveal another gold key. Not that it matters at this point, but, you know, 100% completion. You can just see there a devastator on a platform. Not a good time. But this is the path to the security system, eventually. And if you look around here, you climb all of this stuff, there are goodies everywhere, so... Another pen here, for example, which lets me face roll all of these devastators and centurions and God knows whatever else is here. Though I do realise that I forget something by going this particular way I'm going here. So I missed one of the switches, so I'll have to be going back here at some point anyway. There's the security system for the installation, so the path to the rune, and hence the way out, is now opening up. So many secrets back here. Ventilation shaft secret. I mean, all these vents look the same, which I think is the cardinal sin of them. It repopulates the area as well as you collect stuff. So it's never a dull moment. I think this is the point where I realise I missed something important, so I'm thinking, shit, I've got to go back. I like that as well, you have the one fiend who's managed to find the slipgate they've set up and just sneak through it. It's nice, it's a cute little touch. Lots of little touches like that in this map, you know, it's very clear a lot of effort went into trying to create something which is convincing as a little set piece, as a place. As a story as to what's going on, it's, that sort of thing makes all the difference in map design, really. The warehouse is locked, so I'm thinking, what have I missed? Having one hell of a time trying to remember what I missed. It's right at the very end, of course. But this beats me forgetting a secret and spending 20 minutes, which I did earlier in the day today, trying to find out where it is. Or beating the entire map and then realising that I was missing one secret and I couldn't remember where it was, to just shamefacedly quitting. I've had a good 3 or 4 attempts today, which have not gone too well in that respect. All relatively straightforward to get this deep. It's not too challenging on a map when you know what you're doing. Memorisation and trying to figure everything out is the main difficulty. And a few of the more nasty sort of trapped fights, but practice them enough, you know, just to get a feel for how they work. The only thing I actually bothered practicing was just a couple of those fights, just to make sure I knew what I was doing. Right, so we got the gold key. Now we can enter the installation. All these doors are now open. Explosive barrels everywhere. Those ones in particular are lethal, because it's just inviting something to come and shoot you in the back. But there's a lot of platforming here, so if you enjoy jumping on crates, you're going to love this section of the map. You're going to absolutely adore it. I'm ambivalent. The gold key. Fantastic. That's all of them now. And something that looks like it should be a secret, which I try and get to here, forgetting the way to do it, which is just jump onto there. And then climb up. It just says, excellent jumping, bonus 37 points. It's quite cute. Trying to find my way around these vents. No clue what I'm doing. I am trying to go somewhere in particular, and it's dropping down to here to another secret. There's a lot of stuff above me there, but that's where the rune cage is, so I'll be back there, basically. Cleaning up outside's a low priority job. So many gotcha positions for the Devastators. If you know what you're doing, there's a lot of just camping in like doorways and taking pot shots, but if you don't, God help you if you push too hard in. There's a ramp jump here. You've got to jump around there because there's something in the way, like on the low ceiling. You get into this vent, which gives you a backpack. And this is the first major mistake I make. You want to avoid falling down in here because it locks you into this warehouse full of enemies. If you keep going, you can see the quad just above there. You can jump onto that, which is what I wanted, and then I was going to clear everything out with the quad in a very aggressive manner. Right now I'm doing this little thing in my head thinking, okay, I fucked this up. Can I jump up to the quad with a rocket launcher, trying to make the rest of it? Thinking, no, I've got yellow armour, it would take too much health off me. If I had red, absolutely, because it'll take about 20 off. So the idea I have here is I'm just trying to find a way of getting out as quickly as possible. Not happy about this, to be honest with you, but at this point I just wanted 100% the map, no matter what. So I thought, this will do, this is the one. This is the one we're going to win with, we're just going to take it as it comes. So I've got to go all the way back round again. And fuck the jump up. You want to kind of just jump right at the very last second and you can just make it across. There's another way into it as well, but I didn't want to take that route because it involves killing more enemies. There we go. Now, if you have this quad when you go into this room, oh, all bets are off. I don't make very good use of this quad, though, sadly. I still play very poorly. I take the wrong route. I should go up first, then go down. Also, I get rattled because I took a lot of damage there. Those Centurions, if you go in a straight line toward them, they do a lot of damage. The nails, they add up. You hear weird talking in the distance. That's the super secret door there. door we have our silver key fob. You can see the control panel there. Containment breached. The logs are quite cute here. I really should have read them all for the sake of this, but I forgot. So these are coffee pods here. They're just making coffee, nothing more, nothing less. But something's happened as a result of that, and they've got a little containment field set up. I think, what do they call it? SCP? Is that what the kids like these days? It's like a little SCP thing. What was that? Serve something. Secure something. Protect, I don't know. Secure, contain, protect, yeah. Another secret here. If you haven't already found the perforator or bought it, you've got your chance now. A bit late. And here's a super secret. I could do the Finnish stereotypical accent along with this, but I thought it would be a little racist, so I decided not to do it. I'm so tempted, but I'm going to stop myself. So I was making some coffee. It's got the RGBs like a new computer. I've got a new computer as of a couple of days ago, and I had to turn all that shit off because it was making me feel sick. I'd never understood the desire to have extremely bright flashing lights in your bedroom or your office. It's an Internet of Things coffee machine. It also seems to be sentient, which is quite cute. I don't drink coffee, unfortunately. It makes me feel very sick. I drink tea. Because I'm a terrible living stereotype. So yeah, that's an anomaly they got from a snowy Scandinavian region that they found there, and they've locked it in their containment field. I can't remember what log 2 says. So, there's another vent jump there, a little ramp jump along. Of course there is. Heading our way through. This is where that Devastator was firing down from. Which is absolutely wonderful. That's opens up this area here, and now we can get our payback on these annoying Devastators who are bullying us so hard. Eventually. They're still incredibly dangerous up there. But you can see even when I'm at their level, I'm struggling to hit them with rockets. The ceilings are high, so it's hard to get a splash on them as well. The nail gun's actually probably the best shout for getting rid of them. Truly terrifying enemy. Probably the best, one of the best parts about Smej are those Devastator enemies. I love them. So, to collect the rune. This fight to get the rune I found to be a lot easier than I was expecting. There's really not much to it. It's just a bunch of Centurions who immediately all kind of just get into the middle of the area. None of them hang around the edges too much, so you can just kill them all. There's enforcers who, you know, spawn at the back gates here, but by the time they get close, they're not an issue. There should have been some more Devastators on the ground or something as well. That would have been cool. Like, get some a couple Devastators on the walkways down here. You could have yourself a real party. So, more secrets to find, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately. These ones are tricky. These ones are the ones that gave me a lot of grief. So you can jump into this vent over here. You can also, like, you know, get jump around using the crates and stuff, but when you're under fire, it's not likely. Just another secure part of the warehouse. More resources. I mean, at this point, you start to really drown in cells and stuff. compared to the more... I'd say there's a bit more rationing in the early parts of the map, but here not so much. Don't know what I'm doing here, I'm just playing like a fool. At this point, there's more than enough to go around. Another vent up here, quite well hidden one. Which leads to the quad. And also, if you drop down here, there's that ring of shadows that you could see earlier. And another secret, I'm not sure why this is a secret, which is the top of where we turned the security system off. And they were the enemies that spawned in after I turned security off that I avoided by taking events to escape. So there's one more secret to go now, thank goodness. This is the one where I did a successful demo and I think it was 18 minutes, so a bit slower than this. Where I completely forgot about this and I didn't know where it was and I thought, just leave, just exit. We'll figure it out later. And it's riding this along to get another quad. It's quite an obvious secret in retrospect, but when you've got a 49 in your head and there's one left and you don't know what it is, it's very easy just to forget something like that. There's an ambush behind me there which I forgot about, so take the damage. I've got a full quad. Confused because usually stuff spawns in when I do this. I don't think I walk close far enough to the edge. I love the look of this area, it's so cool. That's a hurting liquid there, don't go in it. Nasty nukage. So we have all of the runes now. So the Rune Chamber is going to open, the main Rune Chamber. I can use the last of my 2 keys. You can see the ambush they've set up there in the last stand at the top. So I've got a nice ring. Mega health as well. I could go for that yellow armor, but I think I don't bother at this point. It's kind of weird how they never see you until you get right up in their faces in this, these ambushes. It does give you a lot of time to go look around in the shop area, find out what you want. By this point I'm just drowning in rockets and cells, so it's just kind of cathartic. Going in blasting. There's very, very minimal risk of dying or messing up this part of the map. Home stretch, as I say. The lore lift here, telling you that they're pulling out. They have the ultimate life form, which is Nuljaska, or Nuljaska, or whatever it's called, the boss of smej2m5 in smej2m5 map, which I made a video on. Check that out as well. There is a shortcut you can take called the speedrunner secret, which isn't actually tagged as a secret, but it's a way of avoiding that lift ride up if you're a speedrunner. And this is the what you see in the start map, and that is the start map area there. So it comes full circle from start back to here, and you see that quad in the containment field, the little force field right at the start of the set as well, which is very cool. This is weird, there's only 8 enemies in this area. I feel it could have done with a little bit more. Like, this is the kind of thing where it would have been really cool actually just to have like loads of grunts or something, just to absolutely decimate with rockets. That would be a very cool last stand situation. Healing up for the final map here. And that's it. That is Chamber of Forbidden Runes by smej2m5. I think it's a lot more fun than Oblivion or Unhola, or however you say it, from the first Smej. But I mean, choosing a favourite smej2m5 map is kind of like choosing between your favourite child, to be honest with you. They're all just so good. Prescience Overload as well in Dwell is fantastic. 37th Relic Retrieval, that's another really good one. Yeah, give them all a go. Marvellous map. Just what you kind of want from one of these big epic adventures. That'll do me. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day. Play smej2.